What's going on, everybody? It's Kabaddi Keenan, and today we're back with another post-PKL auction team review, and we're going to be going over the Bengaluru Bulls. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. And the Bulls, they were fairly active. The deals that they made were pretty high profile, if you will, particularly with two players specifically. But we're going to start off with their most expensive player that they bought, which was Ajinkya Pawar, who previously was with the Tamil Talivas. He went for 1.1 crore. I think he was one of 6 people to get purchased for over 1 crore. So they believe in him, which I'm a big fan of Ajinkya Pawar. I really enjoyed watching him last season. He did have that one major mishap that I mentioned in the previous video covering the Tamil Talivas, but nonetheless, I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a really good player. He's one of the best raters. He just missed out on being ranked as a top 10 rater last season, as he came in 11th with 124 points or raid points in 21 matches. So he just missed out on being a top 10, but nonetheless, he's very good. I've always enjoyed watching him. I think he's a great addition for the Bengaluru Bulls because, to be honest, their rating last season was not the greatest. I think it was one of their weak points. I would say it was their weakest point last season was their rating. So they put a lot of emphasis on fixing and addressing that issue, if you will, because he was their first purchase and their largest purchase. And then they had their next biggest purchase, which is Pardeep Narwal, bringing him back to the Bengaluru Bulls, which apparently he started his career with them. I didn't know that. Like I said, I'm still new to the sport. I didn't really find out about it until season 9. But I've come to learn that he started his career with the Bengaluru Bulls. So it's nice to see him back and to potentially end his career, maybe. I don't know how many more seasons he has in him left, but I think it's a great move for them to be able to get him back to sort of try and shore up their rating prowess along with Ajinkya Pawar. And I think those two can be a really great tandem together. I think if Pardeep can sort of find that reservoir of youth maybe and rekindle some of his greatness, because to be honest, I think we can all admit that maybe his best days are behind him, but I think if he can somehow find a way to be a little bit rejuvenated, being back on the Bengaluru Bulls where he started everything at, I think that could be a great pairing. And also too, I think with those two together, the Bengaluru Bulls also made a purchase with Jai Bagwan, and he's young. I'm assuming. I think he's young. He was with Umumba last season. Yeah, he's only been in the PKL for 2 seasons, and last season he was with Umumba. He only scored 50 points in 13 matches, which is not the greatest. But the previous season, his rookie season, he had 82 points in 19 matches. So he seems like a player that has a lot of promise. And I think maybe with the mentoring from Ajinkya Pawar and Pardeep, I think maybe he can elevate his game a little bit this season and sort of become that third crucial rater that I think every team needs. And potentially maybe even the number 2, possibly surpassing Pardeep Narwal. So you never know. But I think maybe with some mentorship from those two from his 2 senior players, I think potentially we could see him rise up and become a strong player for the Bulls. Now, defensively, they made a few moves. They got Nitin Rawal, which I wasn't familiar with him, and that's because he actually did not play last season. I don't know if that was because he was hurt or if he just wasn't, a team just didn't pick him up last season. I'm not sure. He seems like a player that they're happy to have on their squad, and hopefully maybe he can be a defender / all-arounder that can really aid in what the Bulls are obviously going to be going for, which is the championship. So we'll see how he does. Another player that they have defensively, they have 2, I think, pretty young players defensively that I'm quite interested in. First is Rohit Kumar, which he only played in 4 matches last season, but he had 13 points, which it doesn't sound great, but defensively, that's not bad. 13 points in 4 matches. I think that's something that he can improve upon. He had a high 5 in one of them. So maybe that ratio is a little skewed to a degree, but I think he could be a defender that hopefully elevates his game and can really solidify that defense for the Bulls. Along with Arul Nanthababu, he only played in 3 matches, but he managed a high 5 in one of those as well. So maybe they're a team that's skewing slightly young defensively, and maybe those young defenders can really sort of come into their own this season and help shore up the defense of the Bulls. So I'm interested to see how the Bulls do this season. They're a team that last season was sort of strange, and I think they might fit that same bill again this season, where at times they're going to look like a pretty dangerous team, but at the same time, I feel like they might be a team where they go through periods of struggle and you never know. I feel like they're a team where you're never going to quite know what you're going to get from them. Sort of like I said, they were last season. But I like the Bulls. They're a team that, again, just always intrigues me. So I'm always curious to see how they do match in and match out. So we'll see. I think they set themselves up for success. I think, again, they addressed some major issues that they had last season, which was their rating primarily. And I think they did a good job sort of addressing that issue, like I said earlier, with Ajinkya and Pardeep Narwal. And again, I'm really curious to see how this Jai Bhagwan does. I don't know how much playing time he'll get. Maybe I'm sort of overhyping him, if you will. He was on the Indian men's team that won the first Junior World Kabaddi Championship last year. So again, he seems like a player that has a lot of promise. So that's why I said I'm just very intrigued by this team and the players. Again, I think there's a lot of storylines that are here. Again, the storyline of will Pardeep Narwal kind of have a bounce back season. I'm interested on this Jai Bhagwan, Ajinkya Pawar. Again, let me know what you guys think about the Bulls, their squad this season. What's your sort of predictions for them? I'd be curious to know your thoughts. So if you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comments. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all guys later.